I think Prague is the most beautiful city I've ever visited, and so do all the other people who are here. It's really crowded. It was really nice. On our last day in Prague, we went to see an exhibition at a place called the Waldstein Riding School. And this building is actually part of a much larger palace complex that was built for Count Albrecht Waldstein back in the 17th century. As you can probably gather, this is not the best time to be touring these beautiful Baroque gardens that have been restored fairly recently. It's raining. It is the only day of rain we have had so far in our visit to Prague. So there'll be a limit to how much I can show you. An elaborate garden with a big statue of Hercules and a lovely row of plantings on the far side with attractively dressed tourists. Overall, this building and its gardens now belong to the Czech Senate, and it's the seat of the Senate, and sometimes the garden is known as the Senate Gardens as well. But it's had a bit of a checkered career. What we see now is very much in tune with the original style of the palace, which was an Italianate style. There's a lot of formal elements. The big pond with the statue of Hercules in the middle of it. There's also box hedges and big hornbeam hedges. I had to ask one of the gardeners. She was very helpful and told me what type of plant they were made out of. So they're sort of very formal, and there's fountains and there's walkways and gravel. And, you know, to be honest, it's nice, but it's, you know, not terribly interesting. And then when you approach the Senate building itself, there's this walkway which has sculptures either side of it, and they're quite fascinating. Lovely, lovely sculptures leading up to this building. So a really attractive vista. And apparently, before they restored the gardens, the whole thing was a maze of hedges and woodlands and little paths, and didn't look anything like it does today. So the first part of the garden we entered was the smaller part of the garden, although it certainly doesn't look small. This is the second largest garden in the whole of the centre of Prague. We were sort of starting to flag and thought, oh, well, we'll just have a bit of a poke around before we go. And I must say, we're absolutely gobsmacked. We came out and suddenly you realise you're seeing this really massive wall, and it's several stories high. It's, I think, a couple of 100 metres long, and it's a completely man-made, what they call a dripstone or a stalactite wall. And I think it was sort of, if you've heard of grottos, there is apparently a grotto there as well, which is not open to the public. But this massive wall was meant to intrigue your guests and entertain people. Actually, if you look really closely, you can see faces and animals and all sorts of things in it. So it was just like a completely unexpected element when you got to this far end of the garden. So I'm afraid that's where we leave the Waldstein Gardens. But certainly, if you're in that area, it is near the access points to Prague Castle, just near the metro station over there. It is definitely worthwhile having a look, and certainly if you're feeling a bit stressed by the crowds and all the people around you, it's a lovely place to go and just take a few minutes and catch your breath and just enjoy some greenery. So, Waldstein Castle. And from here, from Prague, we flew through to London, and I've got two garden things to show you in London: the Garden Museum and the Chelsea Physic Garden. So I look forward to showing you those two gardens in our next couple of videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye. The realities of gardening. Even the best gardens need to fill up their fish pond every so often.